Hey everyone! We've all been hearing about the restrictions on some accounts since Phase 3 launched. A number of players have been impacted by these changes, and the impact has continued all week. Last night is the first time Blizzard have actually acknowledged the issue and given us a little bit of an explanation. So I've popped the blue post up on the screen. It's a bit weird, it's just a reply to something on the Customer Services EU forums. But basically, it confirms that new players or players adding game time for the first time have restrictions on their account for 30 days now. Then this evening, one of the developers has given a little bit more of a tidbit around it too, just saying that he's trying something different against the bots. Well, I hope it works, but I'm not sure about the long term of this change. So on one hand, the bots, everyone knows they do a ban wave and the bots come back 2 hours later on fresh accounts. I think I've seen somewhere that it's something ridiculous, like 3 days a bot has to stay active before it becomes profitable, which isn't long at all. With these restrictions, bots that are farming are going to really come into real problems really fast. Even if they were happy to take a chance and hold on to all their stuff for an entire 30 days, you would run out of space in no time at all. Like, even if the bot owner is to then send you all new bags, all new gold, you'd still have no space. So bots would really be limited to raw gold farms and vendoring things only, right? You can do quite a few dungeon farms in limited to 0 gear, but the gold gained from these without selling anything like cloth or blues is really limited. This change could be really impactful against botting. However, it could also be really impactful against new players. How would you feel if that was you? No trading, no auction house, no in-game mail. You have to remember as well, the fact that they feel comfortable even making this change really implies that there's not that many new players, which isn't brilliant for the health of the game, really. It would be, in my opinion anyway, it would be better to spend some time trying to encourage more new players in rather than, putting all these restrictions on them when they do come in. I remember when I was a new player, I got myself completely stuck in Darkshire at about level 12. I was getting camped by a spider and I needed to be escorted out. That actually happened to me again in Stranglethorn by the Raptors. It took me a while to really get a grip on things. A friend of mine actually reached level 16, in Elwyn Forest, and then became hard stuck, not realizing that there were zones beyond the start zone. But new players now, they generally arrive with a bit more experience, not to mention how fast leveling is. They could be 50 in a matter of days, and then have to spend the rest of the month in self-found mode. If it were me, being a massive glutton for punishment, I'd probably try to level my profession still, but that would take so much longer than it usually would. I don't know if I'd have the patience this phase to deal with that. Maybe though in phase 1 I would have, at level 25, but now when you can level your professions all the way up to 300, I'm not so sure that payoff would be worth it. I guess the runes as well from the supply crates and the ratchet are both out. Both of these depend heavily on trading or the longest farm of your life. Some of these runes are really impactful, so it doesn't seem right just to lock players out of it. You could still get your mount with your quest reward gold, it does add up fast, and what else are you going to be spending it on? But getting into a raid without consumables, that would be another challenge. If I was new, I would probably pop over to Cataclysm Classic instead, if I'm honest. Or even maybe retail. The idea of a bot-free game does really appeal to me, but those restrictions on me as a player would just be too far. This change has also, for me, really brought the seasonal elements home. I'm aware, and I have been aware all along, that the server is seasonal, but it's such a high experimentation level with this and the GTKPs. I do appreciate it, I really do. And I think to finally nail some systems to get rid of the bots would be great. But I just find it a tiny bit disconcerting as a player to be playing on such a experimental server. I feel like I do kind of like to know a little bit about what's coming or what I'm playing. I like to make decisions based on my game knowledge. The other thing then, I would assume, is that bots just need to create an account, purchase game time, and then lay low for 30 days before beginning botting on day 31. I suppose actually they could probably start botting on day 26 or maybe a little bit later, like day 29 or whatever. So this would definitely hit the bot's profitability. It would mean, I think we said earlier in the video that it's roughly about 3 days it's supposed to be for a bot to become profitable. So with this change, it would end up being 6 days instead of 3 days. So it would hit the bot's profitability, but are you really going to get banned in that 6-day period if you weren't getting banned in that 3-day period? So maybe this would be annoying enough to encourage them over to a different game. Who knows? But how different would the game even be without the bots? I mean, actually, I think probably not as different as we might imagine. As farmable items increase, the players are going to start finding it profitable enough to gather items themselves. Even linen cloth has a hard price cap before players decide to go back to starter zones and farm it, let alone the current tier. We know that when left alone, players will often start to behave in ways that mimic bots. Right now, a player wouldn't necessarily go and farm the same thing for 3 hours because it's just not profitable enough. And when there's a bot next to you doing better, why are you going to really bother? Seriously, you just feel like an idiot. But once the bots are removed and the gold that you gain from those increases, players will start behaving much more like that again. So the gold would start to circulate more freely. Professions like fishing increase in popularity again. But all that being said, if your game has a high proportion of raid loggers, are they really going to want to level up fishing to farm the essence of water? And will they be willing to transmute it into air? Or are we going to find some materials just become harder and harder to get? So I would imagine the drop rates for some items would be easily adjusted if they do become too rare. So I hope that's something that's being looked at and considered. And to be honest, a big part of me hopes this is just a short-term solution to a short-term problem, and that they think that, they've got something else up their sleeves that's going to fix this. So for me, I really hope it improves the bot situation. My main concerns are around the new players. I think doing some things like adjusting the drop rates of items and also making runes not hidden behind rep grinds or something would be definitely good moves to make at this point. But I'm super interested to hear your thoughts on this one. So please do drop me a comment and let me know what you think of this. I've got some farming videos due out this week, and I'm currently working on my phase 3 alchemy guide. So please do remember to hit subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks a lot. Bye.